there are two things that happen. One, when you go into the very silence of your being and you quiet yourself totally, after having listened without judgment to what you were feeling, no matter what it was like, the moment you do that, and you don't try to get rid of it, you don't do anything, you reach a point of, there's nothing here, but I'm feeling okay. You know, there's a feeling that it's not as bad as I thought or whatever, but there is a feeling of relaxation within it. And then what happens is this, which cannot be put in words, unfortunately. Nobody can write about it, nobody can talk about it, is the self-recognizing silence that is within you. That when you reach the silence, so that the noise is no longer there, there's nothing to impede your true nature. There's nothing to impede who you are. You see? And at that moment, that which you are is the greatest gift we've been given, recognizes itself. Now, this is the crucial point here. Recognizes itself. Now, the moment you recognize yourself, you're not going to say, whoopee, I recognize. No, it isn't. It becomes a feeling like, oh, I'm more relaxed now. You see, for a moment. But what is it that starts happening? What starts happening is this, that when you go into that silence and the noise is no longer there, you reach a point where you begin to realize that this space, this nothingness that you are, is a presence. It's an awareness. You cannot remove that. It's just an awareness. And this awareness has no boundary line, has no beginning or end. And another thing that starts coming to you, this is how it teaches you. And it teaches you also that this essence that you are not only has no boundary line, but it's timeless. It's always, always here. Always. There isn't one split second, of course, that it's not. So therefore, we begin to understand something even more important, that now, what we call now, is eternal. The moment you realize beyond a shadow of a doubt that you are an eternal being, we have found the ultimate. You see? You can pinpoint it. I have found, through my own study, not only because I studied psychology, but through my own doing hypnotherapy, is that there is only one fear. The fear of death. The fear that we are going to end, or something is going to end, or even when I die, even if we live on, it's going to be different. It's something I want being able to relate to. Or there is this constant fear there. Well, when you go deep within, I call it the inner guide, that ultimate silence within you, when you begin to feel that, when you become one with it, you begin to recognize that you are this now itself. You, who you are, is now. All the things that you think you've accomplished and done and been called or thought you were, and the emotions and feelings that you associate it with, is now gone, and all that remains is now, this moment. And in this moment, in total silence, beyond any noise, you begin to feel, which is the recognition, you see, the capital S, recognizing itself, that you are eternal. You never die because you were never born. And you're always going to be just as you are. Nothing is going to change because that which you are is changeless. The moment you know this, not just by hearing it alone, okay? Although I have to say it, but not by hearing it alone. But when you start experiencing this directly, there comes a peace in you that nothing and no one is able to touch or take away from you. You see? There comes a strength that is always there despite circumstances, despite whatever happens. So, I have a few questions now to go into it, and I'd like to get you as involved as possible, because noise is a big subject, and we always identify with it. That's part of the process. You know, if something happens to you, you always think, oh, it's happening to me. What produces the greatest noise? What do you feel produces the greatest noise?
Fear.
Yes. What produces fear? That's a good one.
The mind.
And what produces the mind to cause the fear? What is it in the mind that produces the fear?
The sense of separation.
And the sense of separation. And what causes the sense of separation?
Being out of the moment, worrying about the future, the past.
Very good. It's time consciousness. Very good. It is that which causes the greatest noise. Time consciousness. The past and the future. And all that there is now. Just feel it. When you go into silence and you're here, you're just here. You begin to see the beauty of here. But here is illimitable. It has no limitation. But it is timeless. And if it is timeless, the next realization is, then I must be eternal. Then I must be beyond time. Everything changes. But I watch the change, and therefore I am changeless. You see? So this is the key. Okay? What produces noise is time consciousness. The past is filled with regrets. And many fears come from the past because you think that you are this way or that way from the way you've been brought up. And then the future also brings fear and anxiety. You see? But in the now, totally now, there is none of that. You see? So the moment and the mind, when you said the mind, which is very, very good, it is the mind produces, because the mind lives in time. Did you know that? The moment you enter the now, you enter beyond the mind. Or let us put it this way, the greater portion of the mind is being used with a capital M. Like Course in Miracles says, you know, the mind of God is capital M mind, so we refer to that. We only use a small portion. You were going to ask something?
No.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, what was I saying? Yeah. So time consciousness is the whole crux of the matter that brings noise. When you are totally here, you are totally in your love, you are totally compassionate, you feel one with another or others. In fact, you feel total connection. But one thing I'd like to stress here, because people often confuse now with the present. And we get confused here, okay? Now and the present are different. Okay, did you know that? How many of you didn't know that? Maybe I need to explain it.
I didn't know it.
Oh, okay. Okay, the present is every moment that is happening. Okay? But when something is happening in the moment, it is happening in the present. But when you look at what is happening, the mind says, oh, this is happening because, and you make a judgment, you make a comparison, you analyze it according to your experience of the past, or what you think is going to happen. Do you understand? This is all happening within the present. So the present is filled with the past ideas, conditioning, and the future hopes and fears and anxieties. That's the present. So the present is complete also. It contains both past, present, and future. The now is when you look at something as actually as it is, in a fresh, new way. Can you imagine if people get married and they look at each other in a fresh new way? And every time they get up in the morning, they look at each other and they're in love again, over and over. It was Khalil Gibran who said, if love is not daily springing, it is daily dying.